option we should be looking into. I didn't know until today that it did have some adverse, repercussions, so we want to be careful about that.
Right.
All right, well then, I'll get off my soapbox about this. And at least we do have some commitment for going
Yeah, we're not
forward.
denying that it's in bad shape, but.
It's needed.
It's needed, but again, it's a bad situation, and trying to pick, I want to be fiscally responsible to my residents as well, and make sure all the options are out there before I commit to anything. And again, I just still think it's premature to commit to something that's in November. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Well, I'm not going to sound like a broken record, but I mean, the problem is you need the advanced time period to prepare for it. You can't just do this in a whim. Or even between, I don't believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe there's time to plan in between a May and November election. So anyway, but if we can figure out a way to pay for this without a heavy burden on residents through property taxes, then maybe that's the path forward. We'll have to investigate it the next time we have a meeting.
And then I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy of what she shared today, because she did come with us and present to us, like, what our outstanding debt is, when all that is, when those are done. So this is good information for you guys to take a look at.
And Christine, I can get it by email.
Get it by email?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Next item, amend the composition of the Parks Board. Judy brought this to our attention. There's supposed to be 7 members on the Park Board, 2 of which are school board. I can tell you the time I served on the Parks Board, only 1 school board person was ever there. So she is asking to change it to a 6-member appointed by the mayor and 1 that's appointed by the school board. This is the way, so to drop that to where it's not 2 school board members, but it's 1 school board member and another seat.
I'm all for that.
So do we need to change, does council need
Yes.
to change their
Yes.
bylaws?
Yeah, there's an email from Frank about that
Yeah,
one.
we do.
Oh, there is? I missed it.
I'll forward that, just in case you don't have it.
Yeah, even way back when I was on.
When I was
board,
on it
There were
before that.
times where there was no school board member that would show. So,
We always had one.
yeah, but then when that one left, then there was times where there was nobody.
Again, it's still the same amount of members, it's just saying that 1 person from the school board
Yeah,
has to
and
be
then
there.
the other seat can be used by somebody who wants to be there.
Right. Does anybody have any questions on that one?
Nope, move it
So are we good
forward.
with moving that forward?
Yes.
The next item I had added on the agenda after we discussed and voted on the massage establishments. This is to look at zoning and add, under all of our conditional items, massage establishments. So it would go under, where is it? Under our medical marijuana dispensing facilities. It would list right under there, and the list of conditional usage. There's other areas that it would have, we would have to tweak. I'm hoping to get that to us by next week.
Yeah, there's 3 zoning changes.
Yep. So just to make sure that it all matches up.
Yeah, so we can just get this finally at rest.
So we can be done talking about it.
And
Yeah.
there was a change to the actual ordinance we were considering to include verbiage or language that it would be a conditional use.
So my attempt is to have that draft ready to go for committee of the whole. Okay? All right. The next item, it's just really a discussion. Again, Amy had brought up just lighting, business lighting, and certainly it's super important to have lighting. There's safety reasons behind the lighting. But, I think lighting has changed so much over the years that maybe this is something we do need to re-explore. And I wanted to make sure council was okay with this before I started really digging deep into it. Just to have a more specific lighting ordinance on how lighting should be pointed, just so it's effective, it's efficient, and it's safe, but it's not so overwhelming that it's blinding you as you drive down the
Yeah, so,
road.
like avoiding light pollution.
Yeah.
Especially too, when a business is surrounded by homes. I know zoning, it may be zoned for a business, but when there are residential homes that are butting up to the business, again, you want safety, but the new lights that are out there can become very bothersome to neighbors. And,
And impact drivers as well.
yeah, so there's some new LED type lightings that can be very
Very
over.
bright.
Yeah. So I think something needs to be put in place before any other places open. I'm thankful that the one that's causing, a ruckus in the neighborhood, the person is willing to work. But again, we need protection for any other businesses that may abut to homeowners.
So I found the city of Columbus does have, which, just to give some idea, so in there's specifics for parking lot lighting, site lighting in manufacturing districts, and in commercial and institutional districts. So in commercial districts, it says globe-style fixtures shall be shielded to prevent upward lighting and shall not exceed 14 feet. Canopy lighting shall be recessed within the canopy or use an opaque shield around the sides. So there is some language in there as to how the lights should be facing. So I'll probably pick Bob's brain on this one.
I know Planning Commission did have in-depth conversation. I believe Carmen and Bill Barber both.
Okay, I'll have to follow up with Carmen.
Yeah, they both did some investigative work on the LED type lighting. So they had provided a great deal of research, I think, to Bob. So that might be a good thing to tie into as well with Planning Commission.
Yep. One of the other things, light shall have fully shielded recessed lamps directed away from abutting properties and directed downward to prevent glare and shine upon the horizontal plane. So, I mean, which is crazy specific, but it's saying, you shouldn't be lighting the neighbor's yard with your lights.
It's,
So,
if we search on lighting, lighting is covered in a large number of ordinances. Is there any way of having the ordinances that we currently have that affect lighting to be in one spot where we could look at them? Because we've got 9 different pages of 10 ordinances each that cover lighting in some way or other. Is there
Are
a
they
separate?
zoning?
Well, I'm just saying, if we're discussing lighting,
Yeah.
we probably need to know what we have already,
Sure.
is all I'm saying.
I have no problem organizing all that. I just want to, before I move forward with it, check with council to see if it's something they're interested in.
Oh, I think it's
exploring.
very much a concern. I have concerns on some of the storefronts that are having bright lights, but I'm not sure if even those are in violation of our current ordinances in one way or other, depending
Sure.
what's in there.
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Anybody else have any questions on that? Do I have anything else? Oh, do we have a management update? Okay. All right, then I will end the meeting at 7:33 PM.
I will bring Community and Economic Development to order at 7:33. And first item on the agenda is a resolution in support of the National Infrastructure Bank Act. Sorry.
No, that's right, bank.
This is due to the immense amount of infrastructure needs throughout the state of Ohio. This is just to be able to send a letter encouraging David Joyce's office to support the act, to increase that funding.
Yeah, so I drafted the resolution, and I've been in contact, and the mayor and Dennis and I had a meeting with this organization that's trying to put together this House resolution. There was one in the prior session, but it didn't get off the ground, and they're looking for sponsors, and that's the main reason they contacted me, was to see if we could encourage our House representative to David Joyce to sponsor an upcoming bill regarding. So if you're not familiar with this, and I wasn't really until we started talking to these folk, but So this has been done before. I think Alexander Hamilton was the originator of this idea. And basically what it is to establish a bank through capital by getting investors to give their bonds to the bank to invest. And then the payoff is they get whatever the bond interest rate is as they're sold back, plus 2%. So the investors have a good stake in it, and then it allows the government of, in this case, in this iterance, up to $5 trillion to hand out loans to municipalities and other types of government agencies to do infrastructure. And so, like, for example, some of the things could be spent on low-cost housing, obviously, things like bridges and roads. We had an interesting discussion at the beginning of our meetings tonight about, broadband infrastructure. It would be able to pay for some of those things. So whether we would benefit as a city depends upon a lot of things happening. And of course, having the bill passed would be essential. But I do believe it's a good idea. And so I hope that City Council will support the resolution, and we'll see how it goes from there. And then I'm willing, if part of the process is to forward the resolution to David Joyce, then that would be part of the plan, and then see where it goes from there. Anybody have any questions about this?
Well, what's the functional difference between doing your own bond versus having a bond go through that institution?
Well, we just had a long discussion about that. We could, well, another factor, I don't remember if Bob Finney sent out the full information about the lift station on Chestnut. So they've got a grant, or at least they have a loan that they want to turn into a grant for $400,000 to plan this. But that, and by the way, that would help the water, stormwater problems in your ward, Ward 4. That plan would cost about $4 million. So, I mean, we could go into debt like we talked about for, safety buildings, but this would be a lower cost interest loan. And if this plan is successful, there will be some grant opportunities as well, especially for smaller cities like ours. So it may not even involve a loan, it might be a grant.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? You guys okay moving the resolution forward? Okay. Next on the agenda is the CHIP program. In true Ohio Development Services Agency fashion, we have received the CHIP allocation. We were granted as of December 1st of 2024, but the state has just sent out in the last couple weeks the documentation and paperwork, and the completion of the CHIP grant deadline is April 30th of 2027.
It was updated.
We were awarded $1,040,800. Part of this award is some of our revolving loan funds that were not encumbered. They did require those to go towards the grant. That breakdown is, we received from the state a $376,100 award of CDBG to be matched with a total of $46,948,000 of RLF CDBG. Now, not all of that is the cities. This also includes the city of Streetsboro and Portage County. Home funds, we received $424,752. And the revolving loan funds that they required, the commitment to it was $193,000. Again, that comes from Portage County, the city of Ravenna, and the city of Streetsboro. As the lead entity, the city of Ravenna oversees the entire grant process. And the reason that this is coming to us now is that the state has decided that the verbiage that was used in the ordinances for the last 35 years now needs to be changed to include that as the lead entity, the city of Ravenna, as the administrator of the grant, takes full responsibility and accountability for overseeing the grant. Just so you know, too, those dollar amounts break down to 8 full rehabs and 14 home repairs, which is an indicator to show you that each full rehab is running about 80 to 90,000 at this time because of inflation.
When they do those full rehabs, does the homeowner repay the loan, or is it all grant money?
Last time I looked, and I say the last time I looked just because it is notorious for the Ohio Department of Development to change their policies every year. The last time I looked, it was an 80% forgiven over a 5 or 10-year period, with the other 20% due upon sale or transfer. I know it's went from, used to be 100% forgive, or 100% paid on transfer down to 75% paid, so it fluctuates.
Okay. On the tracking sheet, you printed in all caps the entire CHIP program grant. So obviously, this is going
It's
to
a
involve some
consortium.
additional work.
No.
So even though we manage the entire grant,
It's-
there's no
we've-
additional work that we have to do?
No, we've always done that. It's the same administration, same process. Neighborhood Development Services actually does a lot of the administration. We handle the financing, and the mayor and the finance department oversee the reporting requirements and make sure that NDS gets the reports to them. They review them, sign off on them, and get them to the state. It's the same responsibilities that we've had over the years. The difference is that, and actually it's been for several years, it's a collaboration, sort of a consortium of the different entities, because you can't, as an individual municipality or the county, apply for the CHIP grant as it was years ago. It used to be each individual municipality had their own. Now the state requires that everybody come together as a collaboration, sort of as a team, and all of the funds go together in the big pot, and it's just that the city has taken on the administration of the program.
Question, Cheryl, do you know if that means we'll be responsible for the full audit of that whole CHIP grant?
Yes, I would imagine.
For all the other cities, for the other ones? that
Well,
are
because they
providing
they don't receive the money. We're the only ones that touch the money.
Right, but they
So-
also handle their own paperwork. Some of the other cities, municipalities that do handle some of their own paperwork.
For the CHIP,
NDS will be doing it all through them, it'll all still go through them.
everything still all goes through NDS.
All right, I just want to make
Yes.
sure this isn't putting
Yeah.
any more responsibility on us that it.
No, absolutely not. It'll be the same as it's always ran. It's just that the state wants that additional verbiage in the ordinance itself.
Okay.
And they won't let
It's not really a
us.
change, it's a language change.
Right, it's a
then.
language
Okay.
change in the ordinance that we already approved at the time that we applied for the grant. They will not, we did ask to see if we could add the verbiage into the acceptance and appropriation ordinance, and they said no. It has to be in the actual initial grant.
Okay. Without seeing the fine print, I'm just leery. Yeah.
No,
Yes.
there is none. Any questions? All right, we'll move that forward, and we will adjourn at 7:44.
Mr. Karas, could you entertain a question at this time? Last Friday, we received the email from Mr. Finney regarding a project that he's wanting to move forward, and I think that he added that a request that it be addressed at committees tonight.
Did you get that? That's the Chestnut project I was referring to. Yeah, I thought there was a,
Oh, there's a printout. We've been awarded the loan form for the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. and Department of Environmental and Financial Assistance.
I guess I'm just asking because if this project, hopefully we're going to be able to move it forward quickly.
okay.
I didn't know if it was something that we needed to act on or something that we can address during committee of the whole. The email
Yeah, let's do
references
that.
two different things. It kind of lets us know that the project has been, he's gotten approval for a loan to move forward with it, but he also wants a change in an ordinance to help with when he selects the consultant for it.
Yeah, so I think the only action we need now, and we'll put it on the agenda for next Tuesday, is there used to be a consultant selection
Right.
committee, and that, the ordinance that established that committee was repealed, I believe, in 2015, because the Ohio Revised Code provides the process for selecting, and it was not in line with whatever the committee was charged to do. So I think in going back and forth, we had some email discussions that he wants to reinstate the committee just so that there are people, but to make the charge broad enough just to apply the Ohio Revised Code condition.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
I just
Let's
want
put
to
it on-
continue to
Thank
move.
you.
Yes.
Because that's an oversight by me
Yeah.
by not adding it to the Utilities Committee. But I don't think the project itself is ready to go forward.
Well, they have to put the engineering together.
Right.
That's the cost that's about $400,000 to do.
Right.
But I want to do everything that we can to move it forward as quickly as possible. It's a big project. It's going to help solve a problem that we have
Right.
in some of the sewer system on that side of town. And so that's the only reason I brought it up. That I want to
Yeah, I think
continue
he's
moving forward.
already sent out the request for quotes.
Okay.
So the process itself is, but they have to entertain the quotes and then, but so on Tuesday, we'll put it on the agenda for reestablishing the consultant selection committee. Thank you
Well,
for bringing that up.
the consultants has always been used as CT. Wanted to mention that in those types of projects.
Yeah.
In the history that he provided in that email, he did mention CT consultants.
Yes.
But I think there is a bidding kind of process we have to go through. That's why we have to have the committee in place, I think. Okay, thank you. Did you adjourn?